What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellanea on Saturday night. It is a balmy one out there. It's so freezing cold that it's somewhere in, I don't know, the 80s or 90s. Hey, Callie. Hey, Ducky. It's hot. Let's put it that way. I'm going to move you up just a little bit so that when I'm diamond painting, it's not doing that thing where it like jumps around. So let me just scooch up here a little bit. There, that's a little better. Because I don't want to, I don't want to have issues. So, anyways, how is everybody doing? I hope that you're well. What's up, Quack? Wallflower? Ooh, reserved chair time. Yes. Excellent. We like that. It's good to see you again, Ducky. I know it's been rough. Tonight, I have some fun little factoids for you guys that I have done some research on to talk about art in politics. Now, forewarning, I don't want anybody to think that this is going to turn into a political discussion. That is not the point of what I'm going to discuss tonight. Hi, Bonnie. Oh, you wanted the mystery kit. You missed it. You missed out on it. I'm sorry, Quack. But yeah, disclaimer, I will not be discussing politics as politics, right? I will be talking about politics as in political movements or as art relates to politics, but I'm not going to be discussing my political beliefs or anything that is going on in the political forum right now or circus, whatever you'd like to call it. So please do be aware that that is not what this is about. I obviously do have plenty of my own political beliefs, but I don't want to mix that with what this channel is about or what the live is about or anything like that. So if you could please make sure you keep it civil in the comments, so that, like I said, won't really be an issue as we're not going to be discussing politics specifically, just some political movements and how they relate to art. So all that disclaimer out of the way. Gonna finish saying hello. Hi, Alex. Diamonds around the world. Hello. Hello to Wicked Kitty Princess and Sarah. Thank you for posting the link to the Discord, as we will be having our usual Discord after dark. Some people actually go into the chat during the lives, which is totally fine. Hi, Christine. Good to see you. People go into the live or the lives, the during the lives. Hi, Jamie. To chat while I'm live. I've actually thought about Destiny. Hello. Thought about joining myself, having on my headset and at least listening to you guys chatting while I'm doing my live so that you didn't have to do as much typing, but that's a work in progress. Hello, Kat. Currently on FaceTime with my son. Oh, well, hello to your son. I know it's time differences between here and Singapore. Tonight, I am working on Solstice from Diamond Art Club. Here is a picture of the whole image. Isn't she pretty? Right now, we are, let's see, the snake is right here. So we're like in this area of the painting, right in there. She is a square by Christopher Love, 65 by 92 centimeters. We are up past the halfway point now and really moving along. And yes, thank you, Kat, for booping that like button on your way in. I appreciate that very, very much. Saving up chair time. Oh, good. We miss you too. We miss you too, Ducky. But yeah, some people, they go into the chat room prior to the Discord after dark time and they chat in there while I'm live, which is totally fine. But yeah, all that said, you can join Discord after dark once the live is over with. But I chose to go on to StreamYard tonight because I wanted to um, show some art pieces as I am showing you around, the art as it relates to politics because, I had spoken, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, about the fact that, when I had gone to some protests a while back, it was interesting to me to see the political kind of cartoons or things like that on some of the posters. And Dustin, who's sitting here playing some uh, Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I think he can agree with me in saying that some of the like political cartoons that we saw on the posters at those protests were really, really just creative, a little bit funny, like you always see things that are funny, you see things that are touching. But it was interesting. I'm taping this down just because it's like, for some reason, it's like poofing up at me. I don't know why. But thought it was interesting to see all of the kind of political cartoons that there were. And then there are a lot of movements in history that have happened due to art or that art has influenced or what have you. So I thought it would be interesting to discuss some of those things and show you guys examples. And so I'm on StreamYard so that I can do that. But all that said, use my tools really quickly and then quick spiel about membership, and then let's just jump into it. Tonight, I actually need to put new putty in here, but this is my pen that Wallflower sent to me from C'est Plus Beau à Tour, which is French. It is a France company with my thin metal multi-placer from Diamond Art Club. And in it, I have my emerald dot putty from Butterfly Effectwares. I can't tell you what this smell is. It smells very fresh. It smells good. It smells good, whatever it is, but I can't pin it down. I'd have to look on to tell you what that is. Hello, Chrissy. Hi. It's 8:30 a.m. there. Oh, okay. But I also have my tray from Firefly. This one has the slide in lid. I really like that. I don't use it very often except for when I'm stepping away from my diamonds and I still have them in the tray so that I know if one of the dogs or the cats bumps something, then it's not going to spill everywhere. But this is from Firefly. It is the Switch Mini Max. Whoops, dropped my trash tray. It's the Switch Mini Max from Firefly. These run about $20. I think they're amazing. They have a open and close pour spout, which is pretty cool. This is a removable trash tray. And then right here, there's a little hole where you can put your pen so that your pen doesn't roll away on you. I think that's pretty phenomenal. And then tonight, because I'm having some humidity issues, I am using a super sticky wax from Patty Wax. When you get it, I know right now it's like this thing here. I lost the little stick thing on the end because I was having issues with it, but it comes in this like adorable little unicorn. It looks like a popsicle when you have the stick in there. And then you just pull it out and it flips open and both sides are full of wax, which is pretty cool. I like the super sticky version of Patty Wax's wax. I find that it just seems to work better for me, but you just scrape along the top of it a little bit. See, you've got a little bubble of wax happening there. I just push it in so that it's there, like the tabletop here. I sort of push it down so it flattens. So it flattens it out. And then it's just flat on the top. See, no more bubble. But yeah, you just scrape along the top, and this is some really good stuff. I like it a lot. So there's that out of the way. Hi, bear with me. Green tea and aloe vera. Oh, you know, hi, Sue. That, okay. I think there's like a note of, I don't know. It's almost like a note of like mint maybe, but I don't know. It's hard to pin it down. And then for those who are not aware or not already members, if you're wondering how you can support the channel, help me out with the time that I need to spend on research for Saturday Night Lives or Tuesday Trivia, or for helping out with getting the pen business started, or just anything. If you want to help out the channel, there's a few ways that you can do it. One is by joining my members. That is, let me see if I can get you a specific link to my members page. I know sometimes it does not work if you are on an iPhone specifically. There's something about iPhone, though. Michelle has figured out how to bypass that. You go here and there. Blam.
I'll be back.
All right, I'll see you in a little while. Have fun with beans. Smells like a limey mojito. That explains the mint. Okay. Thank you. Francois, welcome. You get smoking tequila. There is a link for membership. It's $4.99 to become a member. You do have some member perks. You get early videos, early access to videos. There's a special chat room in Discord that you get access to, along with a voice chat for members only. And then I will be, as I continue filming some things for another level, there will be another level opening up, but you can join the first level for $4.99. You can add the next level if you feel like doing that once that opens up, or you can send me a coffee. Let me see if I can get you infos about the coffee page. One moment, y'all. I gotta grab it out of my default. There we go. Coffee. And now the coffee page does have a $5 minimum. So please be aware, if you are sending anything via coffee, that it is a $5 minimum for the coffee page. But you can donate that way. Otherwise, I do have an Amazon wish list. I'm not going to share that right now in the comments. Otherwise, you know, just your subscribes and likes on videos is massively helpful. So you can boost me in the algorithm. People see my channel and they watch more of my stuff. I was looking at some of the numbers today, and it looks like some of my better performing videos are like my Chris a Bug haul, which did not surprise me, my stash video, which always performs, the 25 things I wish I knew before I started diamond painting, and then my Dreamer Designs comparison. So I can't wait until I get the next Dreamer Designs kit so I can do yet another comparison of the Dreamer Designs. But really interesting to see people enjoy and what they watch. So anyways, yeah, that makes way more sense with a limey mojito. Hi, Glory, welcome. But it's a good smell. It's really a pretty putty too. Look at it. It's pretty. I love them colors. Get my light over here a little bit better. There we go. Sorry. Pretty colors on this butterfly effect wears, but it has been humid, really, really humid in the house. And so I'm using the butterfly effect wears because it is a dry putty. And when it comes to ABs or even regular drills, I've found that the butterfly effect wears just seems to hold up better because it is dry and it doesn't tend to gum up. It doesn't turn stringy for me. And as a hard placer, it is absolutely necessary. Mojito with a hint of smoke. Okay. I don't know if I get the smoke, but I definitely get the lime. It has almost like a Irish Spring smell too. I don't know. Anyways, whatever that correlation is between the two. I am also using my fakey Elizabeth Ward containers. Now, granted, I bought 4 when I bought them so that I could mix and match sizes because, you know, you're not going to end up with all of one. I mean, you can do all smalls, but otherwise, you know, you need different size containers for different size things. And I fit in this one, there are 51. Technically, there's 53 containers because these 2 are empties just to make sure that things aren't sliding around. But I love those. It is honestly my preferred method of kit up besides the Craftmates. The Craftmates is my other preferred method of hitting up because it's you can see everything. I don't know. I like seeing things. That's just my preference, honestly. But anyways, tell me, hello, Della, welcome. You snagged a Butterfly Effectwares pen. Wow, congrats, man. That's a feat. Getting those pens. You got to be like a friend of the Pope to get one of those. So congrats on that. Hi, Marie. Welcome. But yeah, so I love my Butterfly Effectwares because it is so dry in comparison. I have hard placing issues. Now, keep in mind that a single putty, it's going to run you about $8 for the Butterfly Effectwares. So if you are out of country or if you are international, whatever, you're going to pay obviously a little higher price for things because you have to pay for first the shipping and then the tax or customs, VATs, whatever you call it, taxes. There's all these like hidden fees, man. I don't envy you guys at all your hidden costs, but there's also tins that she sells. I think they're like $30 and it's got like a lot in it, a whole lot in it. And it lasts quite a while. So if you're going to pick some up, you know, obviously if you're just testing it for the first time, it's a little costly just to, you know, try it out. But if you are a hard placer like me, you live in a climate that gets fairly humid, you might enjoy it, and it might be worth just picking up 3 or 4 of them so you have them, because I don't know, it's by far my favorite putty. I do enjoy also Putty Crocker and the Patsy's putty that I got to try out a little bit. But I think Butterfly Effectwares remains like my favorite. What's up, Daisies and Decaf Wendy? They still had a few 2 hours after drop. That is rare. You got an EW pen once and nearly fell off the couch. Woo! Oh, your Butterfly Effectwares. Yeah, man. That's a feat. 2 hours. I wonder, was the drop not like advertised ahead of time or something? Because that sounds crazy to me. I mean, I know you, like I said, you got to be kind of friends with the Pope to get those. And their pens are really beautiful. If you can get your hands on one, they are gorgeous. So again, if you are like international, you can also buy a pen, and then that makes the putty purchase a little bit, I guess, more worth it or whatever. But kind of depends on where you're at monetarily, that sort of thing. Beautiful pens though. All that said, let me get into it with you on the art in politics. And like I said, I'm not going to be talking about politics, so don't worry about that. Black and red themed, several were still up. Wow, 4th score. Still large ones and mini ones left. Cool. Well, if I had money, I'll go snag me one. Let's take a look here. Art's historical influence, right? And art in revolution and resistance. Sugar, quit your whining. Art functions as a lot of different things, and it can function as a political movement. It can shape decision making and it can influence political ideologies, actions, and cultural shifts. We've seen that, as I've spoken before, in the Renaissance, where so many new concepts were being brought to the general public. I mean, things like the kinds of art we were not seeing for a long time. And then when you start the Renaissance period is the 1400s, but it really, the Renaissance lasted from the 14th century to the 17th century, and there was so much happening, culminating especially with Queen Elizabeth and what Queen Elizabeth contributed to the Renaissance kind of movement, right? Well, there's other types of art as far as it concerns revolution and resistance. And one of those would be Soviet constructivism, if I can say that right, from the 1920s. Now, I'm gonna pull up some examples of each thing if I can, so that you can see what exactly I'm talking about, if it's to do with architecture or if it's to do with actual art, things of that nature. This one, if I can grab it up, is by L. Lissiski. If I can say the names right too. But this one is called Beat the Whites with the Red Wedge. Now, again, no political opinion is going to be added into, but I want you to see this particular piece from like Soviet constructivism. All right, blam. Let me get this up on, there we go. All right, good, I'm small. So this is a piece called Beat the Whites with the Red Wedge. This movement, and according to Wiki, I'm reading on Wiki, rejected decorative stylization in favor of the industrial assemblage of materials. Constructivists were in favor of art for propaganda and social purposes and were associated with socialism, the Bolsheviks, and Russian avant-garde. It really had a great effect on modern art movements, influencing trends like the Bauhaus and the still movements. But you see it in architecture, graphic design, sculpture, industrial design, theater, film, dance, all over the place. And this piece in particular was used in a poster form. Speaking of black and red themed, huh? Now, let me stop that one. Boop. All right, there we go. There's one example of art and revolution. There's also, we talked about this before. Let me grab it up for you. It is the Diego Rivera's murals. Rivera. Let's see if I can get you a good one. I'll go ahead and share my screen, and then I'll kind of show you through the page that I'm looking at. This is the Diego Rivera Murals Gallery. That's an ad for Diamond Art Club. The gallery of different Diego Rivera murals. Really, really some beautiful things. Can I make it larger? Maybe. Let's go to this one over here. See if I can share this one. Now, a lot of Diego Rivera's murals were politically charged, right? And they depicted the struggles of the working class. We talked about this a little bit, like I said, the last time. It influenced labor movements and socialist ideals in Mexico and beyond. Now, these come out of the 30s, and this one in particular is really a beautiful piece. And you can see how it, compares, say, Mexican ways of life as slave labor, essentially. You see here its kind of comparison to Egyptology and the same sort of ideas about those lives in almost a slave perspective. Really, really interesting stuff. You have a Diego painting in your home. Oh, okay. Wonder why a DAC ad. Yeah. Hi, Sue. Hi, Sue Tap. How are you doing? Working and lurking. All right. Have a good night on the town, Diamond Queen. Night out on the town. Yeah, I see that there's just a lot to see in this gallery. And it looks as though he had a lot of things to say about the Mexican body as it's used and used in labor. Now, we see a lot of different labor movements all over in almost each generation, right? Different ways. You can almost say that, like, the depictions on the pyramids almost showed labor movements, things happening. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. Another would be Francisco Goya's The Disasters of War. Now, this came out of 1810 to 1820, and they were etchings. Let me get you a picture of that. I feel like if I'd have had all of this ready, probably would have been like so busy. I'm trying to find one that isn't like terrible, super terrible. Let's go like that. So this one right here, it's pretty it's pretty bad, right? This one is it's called Lo Mismo, which means the same. It's a Spanish civilian that is about to decapitate a French soldier with an axe. These different murals or etchings, excuse me, it really criticizes, even though it doesn't seem to, it criticizes the brutality of war. And it was showing just the disaster that war could be in all aspects. And, to the person who's maybe sitting at home, the genteel who does not go out and fight on the battlefield, this sort of an etching or a depiction, when shared, say, in a news piece or in one of their, daily tribunes or what have you, to see an etching like this really would, for the genteel socialite, the whatever, to see this would, I feel like, really put it in the faces of those who were not fighting these wars, that war is brutal, that war is ugly, that, you know, there are real lives that are affected, right, by war of all kinds. Now, we see this nowadays too, um, especially when you look at the art in like protest posters and things like that of Vietnam, or, well, any of our wars, really. Political art or political pieces that show the opinions of those who make the art. I mean, that's kind of a tale as old as time, right? I feel like things of that nature will always exist because people will always have opinions on what is happening in politics, what is happening in wars, or what is happening in our own backyards. We're incredibly fortunate, I'll say, in living in a country where we don't see war on our soil. Yes, we've seen attacks and things of that nature, but we've been incredibly fortunate in that war is not brought to our home, right? We don't have to see those things. You stop sharing that one. And then next, there's Mexican muralism. Now, these come out of the 20s and the 50s. This would be artists like Orozco, Rivera, Siqueiros. These were public murals, and they were usually around to promote social change, influencing Mexican nationalism, revolutionary politics. Let's see if I can find you a good example of Mexican muralism. I mean, that kind of, Diego kind of counts, but ooh, here's a good one. Let's see if this image will be large enough. Oh, it's so tiny. No, we need to find a good sized piece. And not only that, but this was an art project that was initially funded by the Mexican government in the wake of the Mexican Revolution to show Mexico's past, present, and future. Let's see if I can get you, because Diego Rivera was definitely one of those artists, but I want to see if I can find you another. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, let's look at this one right here. There we go. Now, as we know, the eagle eating the snake is depicted on the Mexican flag, right? Now, this is by Jean Charlotte. I think it's Charlot. It's really a beautiful piece. Really, really beautiful piece. And this is on one of the walls of the San Ildefonso College, which is right in the historic center of Mexico City. It's a really beautiful piece. Really, really beautiful. We've been lucky enough in my town that I live in, where there have been a lot of new murals popping up kind of all over the place. Some I would consider to be slightly political. Others are just really beautiful. There was a project that started in my hometown where, art is very important here, and they commissioned murals all over the city, all over our downtown, all over our historical district. And some of these murals are just gorgeous. I'll have to go and maybe for a live like next week, I can show some of the murals in my town because there are some really, really good ones. And before the weather turns on me and I can't walk around to them too much anymore. But there's one that actually shows sort of like our history and labor here in my town. I live in a former General Motors town, and there's also one that depicts a bunch of farm equipment laborers, people who worked in factories to make farm equipment, things like that. Really, really cool stuff. So maybe I'll have to go around, get some pictures, and share some of those. And then we already did talk about the piece Liberty Leading the People. I will grab that up to remind you what that one looks like. Liberty Leading the People is really a beautiful piece. And it was very affecting to the French people. It's by Eugene Delacroix. Let's get a good sized picture. That should be big enough. There we go. Let's get you that one. Now, as I've said before, Sarah is lucky enough to have this in a diamond painting. It's very beautiful. And when you talk about liberty leading the people, this symbolized the French Revolution, and it really became a symbol of freedom and democratic uprisings across Europe. There were uprisings everywhere, and especially in France, where the people just were not going to be trodden on anymore. And yeah, there's a booby out. I apologize, a little booby. It's art. What do you want to do? It's not porn. But really an inspiring piece. And where it pertains to, politics, things like that, this is really personifying the concept of like the goddess of liberty, this bare-breasted woman of the people, right? And she's holding the French flag up. She's jumping across a barricade, and she's stepping over the bodies of the fallen. It's really just a symbol of the free people of France and the French Republic. Some people thought it was to depict the French Revolution, but it was not. This you can see in the Louvre. Really, really, really lovely stuff. And I can't wait until you get to this piece, Sarah. You listen to a lot of Les Mis when you do. I can't blame you. It seems like the right thing to do. Oh, stop. Oh, is it time for our sugar shaming already? It feels early. It feels early for sugar shaming, but I guess it's time. Sugar, are you ready for your shaming already? Seems like you should have waited a little bit, but we'll go ahead and shame you now. Sugar, sugar, oh, doggy, doggy, nah, 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 nah. I am an annoying dog, and I make the other dogs bark. Shame the baby. She's like, whatever. I love my usual shame, right? Let's get it over with. Fine, Mom. It is my shame. I got famous. And say hello. Look into her sleepy eyes. Okay. No barking, Sugar, okay? You go back to sleep. No barkies. No barkies, okay? You be good. Boop the nose. Oh my goodness. Always a pain in the booty, I tell you. Um, let's talk a little bit about Chinese socialist realism from like 1949 to now, as it is, you know, all over the place still. Get you a good example. Let's see if this will be large. No, it's so tiny. So tiny. They often like to use art pieces not just to show life as it is, but life as it should be. That's kind of what the point of some of that was. Like their political culture showed like correct behavior and thought, but this propaganda type art, it was like one of the means of explaining and illustrating like the correct policies of the moment and really the Communist Party's vision of the future. But I'm trying to see, let's see. Here we go. Let's see if this one will be big enough. This is big enough here. There we go. And like I said, this type of artwork really showed people not just what life is, but what it's supposed to be, what it should be. Let me share this with you. There we go. And this one is called Premier Zhu is Our Close Friend. And it's just very idyllic. Yes, it's showing a premier who's just in someone's home, spending time with them. Like it's this idea that, you know, that these communist ideals would work. And it really shaped the cultural identity of China. And it reinforced these like state sponsored propagandas, like that it was idyllic, right? That this is the way the world is and it should always be. Now, you know, she's like, I hate you. Yeah, pretty much. Now, that's not to say that, Mountain Dew time. That's not to say that communism is right, communism is wrong. I have no opinions to share on that, but you can see how for people who are suffering or whatever, to show art where, you know, your leaders are your equals, or that everyone can and should work together, like it's a beautiful ideal, right? It is idyllic. It is it's a beautiful thought to say that, you know, we're all going to work together for the betterment of each other. I love that idea. I love that idea on paper. But does that work in reality? Does this sort of art depict reality? I'm going to go with probably not so much, but I also can't I can't poo-poo all over a person's way of life. If that's the way that they choose to live and that works for them, that's all well and good. I more power to you and hope it works out, right? But I can see how just Joe regular guy would look at artwork like this and think how really idyllic that would be, how really wonderful it would be if you could just see each other as utter equals and that everyone would have the same opportunities and what have you. It's a beautiful thought. It's a really beautiful thought. But you can see how it would sway people one way or another politically to see these idyllic images, right? Let me stop that screen. Ooh, Guernica. Picasso's Guernica. Let's talk a little bit about that as it relates to politics, because this piece in particular, let me get you a good sized image to look at here. Oh, it's still kind of small, but can I get you a better sized picture? Well, here's a little boy looking at it. That's not going to help me. Ooh, I might have found a bigger version of Guernica by Picasso. Ooh, yeah, okay. I will share this screen. That will work perfect. Wonderful. This is Guernica. Well, it looks crazy, as is usual with regard to Picasso, right? Now, this piece in particular, this was a protest of the bombing of the Spanish town of Guernica, and it became this iconic anti-war symbol during the Spanish Civil War and World War II. And while Picasso's work is obviously art sometimes, I love when an artist puts their kind of special perspective or their special view on a time in history and allows the rest of us to see what their eye sees, right? Because Picasso isn't necessarily a style of art that I might normally gravitate toward, might not be a style of art that I necessarily understand or what have you, but it is interesting to see what Picasso what Picasso's artistic vision did with a piece of history like the bombing of Guernica. And I think that we see a lot of this type of art where it's the artist's vision of a historical event or the artist's vision of atrocities and how they respond to it. You know, they say that you can take a tragic incident and make beautiful things from it. This has been evident in even 9/11 memorials, things like that, depicting the Twin Towers. And don't you want nothing? I think she thinks that my son's coming down. But you know, we see all of these different 9/11 memorials and things like that. And some it takes the tragic and it turns it into something that can be beautiful. It's the concept of taking something that is busted and broken and making something really special from it. You want to hang out with Miss Sugar there for a minute? Hang out on the porch. It's actually really cool out there.
I know. I have the three-season porch open in the window. The fan pointed in the room.
Well, just for now. I mean, I'll be done in about an hour. Let me take that one off of there. What else? Oh, here we go. This is one that you will recognize as a definite political art piece, okay? It's very iconic. This one, let's see if I can get you a good size. There we go. All right, you guys will recognize this definitely as a political piece of art, a very famous political piece of art. This one is Shepard Fairey's Hope poster from 2008. Now, this has become iconic. It's been used and it's been parodied. It's been it's been just used all over shamelessly, right? This one became a visual symbol of his presidential campaign, and it emphasized hope and change in American politics. Now, I know, right? DAC ads are all over the place, man. Now, regardless of how you feel specifically about Barack Obama or that movement, you do have to definitely admit that this piece right here is and was very iconic in that particular time. And it, like I said, it gets used and reused all the time. I've seen this as parodies where there's a dog on the poster, or I've seen it in reused in other political campaigns. I've seen it in used in commercial art for items, things. You know what I mean? Like it's really been an iconic piece of political art that has turned into something else entirely. Just, I mean, if I would be shocked if a person who is American would tell me that they had not seen this piece of political art. And the vote one was good too. Yeah, I agree. The vote one was also very, very good. But even if you look on Obama's this picture on Obama's lapel, that particular like little image, the circle image with the like it looks like land, that piece too, I like that sticks very hard in my memory as like the Obama campaign. And it never ceases to amaze me how you can look back at other people's or things like that and how they really stick with you. I almost wonder if I was to go through and do like some sort of quiz or something on a constituents campaign posters or whatever, how many of those I would get right or wrong, just based on that particular piece. Obviously, if it had the president or future president in it, that'd be a little easy to, figure out. Shepard Fairey didn't make money from it. Oh, well, because this is in the Art Institute of Chicago, right? Isn't that where this is? Like hangs up? I think that's right. But really, really interesting piece when speaking on politics and art. There's also like arts as it concerns civil rights movements, as civil rights movements also would be considered political in my mind. I don't think anybody would disagree with me. And I want to talk a little bit about the Harlem Renaissance. Let me get you a piece of art to look at. Here we go. Here we go. This one is called Three Harlem Women. And this is also from the Harlem Renaissance. It was the intellectual and cultural revival of African American music, dance, art, fashion, literature, theater, politics. And it was focused in Harlem, Manhattan, New York, right? And it was like the 20s and 30s. Now, these three women, right, at the time where this image comes from was called the New Negro Movement. And it was named after The New Negro, which was an anthology edited by Alain Locke, excuse me. And it was all about civil rights and the renewed militancy in the general struggle for those civil rights. Because a lot of the African American workers were fleeing the racist South, the Jim Crow laws and things like that. And Harlem often ended up being a final destination for those African Americans running from the heavy racist South at that time. These women, these three African American women, one, do they not look dapper AF? Like, I wish that we still dressed this way. I wish, hi Eve, how are you? I wish that we still dressed this way. I wish that, like, when we came around to the 20s again, I almost wish that we would have like re-entered this flapper kind of, movement, or the fashions of the 1920s. I wish that would have been a thing that happened, because I absolutely love their clothing, the big fluffy furs, the hats are just so cute. Hi Wolfie, welcome. Just so adorable the way that they look, and powerful too, really, really powerful. But there's this zenith of the flowering of literature that came about, and there were all sorts of things happening in this Harlem Renaissance where Black writers were becoming more acclaimed, and it was really a rebirth of the African American arts. Everything from mainstream of African American music and artwork and fashion. Like I said, it was really just it was a beautiful time. It was a beautiful time. All right, let's see here. Next one, let's talk about, kind of in the same vein. Let me get this here. We're going to hop from the 20s and 30s into the 60s and 70s. And this one, let's see if I can, this will be out of MoMA. Can I open this in a new tab? Maybe. Okay, that'll work. Let's show you this one. Out of the 60s and 70s, we saw the Black Panther art movement, things that were happening. Emory Douglas was considered the minister of culture for the Black Panther Party, and he created these very powerful visuals that promoted Black liberation and resistance to police brutality. Now, this is only one piece, obviously, of art from that particular era and that particular movement, but a very affecting piece nonetheless. I feel that, we've seen some almost repeats of pieces that looked like this when Black Lives Matter became a movement, and in various ways kind of protesting the mistreatment of Black bodies all over the United States. This is a really beautiful piece. It speaks of a time that, we think of as so far away, but really wasn't that far at all, where we are still to this day on Black liberation and resistance to police brutality. And hopefully we can enter a time where this sort of art, which protest the misuse of Black bodies as it relates to the police or what have you, where this sort of artwork won't be necessary, where it's just human rights instead of needing to have civil rights, if that makes any kind of sense, what I just said. But yeah, this is just it's a very powerful visual. It says All Power to the People, 1969, printed in 6 colors on newsprint. And it's a 38 by 57.7 centimeters. Wouldn't mind it actually as a diamond painting. But this is in the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA, as people call it. What else we got? Oh, yes. I want to see this piece right here, because we speak on this kind of idyllic America. But this one in particular, I wanted to show, if I can get a large enough visual for you, because I don't want to try and show you some dinky little picture. Come on. There we go. Let's see. Image and new tab. There we go. Perfect. Here we go. Let me show you this beauty. This one is called The Problem We All Live With by Norman Rockwell. Now, Norman Rockwell is very famous for having kind of this idolized version of what, America is supposed to look like, right? A Norman Rockwell, it always showed these, just really idyllic scenes and things like that. But this one is a painting from 1964 of Ruby Bridges, which was the first African-American child to integrate an all-white school. And this really influenced the public opinion on school desegregation in the United States. And again, when we think of these things as being so far away and so foreign, this little girl who just wanted to get an education, and she had to be escorted by U.S. Marshals. There were things being thrown at her. But what a brave little girl, But again, more art as it relates to politics or civil rights movements or the movements of those times. Hi, Rhonda. Welcome. Really, really beautiful stuff. Shells. Hi, I live near the Rockwell Museum in Massachusetts. Really great place. A place I would love to check out. Oh my God. There's just so many Rockwell pieces that I think are absolutely gorgeous and interesting images too. And sorry, I just noticed when I was looking at that again that it had a naughty word on it, and I apologize, but it was a piece of that art history, and I don't want to diminish the power of that piece of artwork. So apologize for that. A lot of the word was covered, so hopefully I didn't. Let's talk about ooh, here's a good one. This one will be street art. I love some street art. And this is a piece that a lot of people recognize. So let's see if I can get a good size. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's see if anybody can tell me what this is. Anybody recognize this piece in particular? This piece is specifically the street art of Keith Haring. And this is just, to me, a lovely piece. I remember this being very, very well known and recognized in the 90s. And it was trying to bring visuals to awareness about HIV AIDS influencing health policies and then LGBT activism from the 80s. I remember this piece showing up in all kinds of places. It showed up on clothing. It showed up on media of all kinds. I remember seeing this all over the place when I was younger. Now, granted, I was born in 1980, and then I remember this really permeating all over my childhood. And so this particular imagery, I know it ended up also being something that was on, like, I remember seeing it even on skateboards. I remember seeing it on just all over everywhere. I remember seeing this on, you remember those like windbreakers that were, they weren't quite paper, but they were paper? Eve says, Keith Haring represents a time when AIDS was killing people daily. Absolutely. Absolutely. Friend of mine was friends with Keith. She has some of his sketches and had a painting of his be given to her. That's really cool. That is really, really cool. I do remember this piece though, just being very popular. One of the better known pieces. And yeah, it comes from a time where HIV AIDS was killing people every single day. And I don't know if any of you have seen Pose, the television show that originated on Netflix. I believe it was Netflix. They talk a lot about the HIV AIDS epidemic and how it affected people of color from the 80s and 90s, and how, you know, certain people were being denied medications. And I think that it is wonderful that we live in a time, not only are there so many more treatments for HIV AIDS, but that there are even preventatives. I have many friends who are in the LGBTQIA plus community that are so very grateful for medications that you can almost take, like a birth control type preventative medication, where you can stop HIV AIDS in its tracks before it ever has an opportunity to take hold and to kill so many more gay or queer youth. Very, very, very grateful that we live in a time where, you know, no one has to die from this disease anymore. It's pretty amazing. But this piece, yeah, I very, very, very much remember this being everywhere in my youth. And thank goodness that it was, to bring awareness to these issues and to show that more needed to be done, that you couldn't just stop where we were at the time. And yes, I agree, Eve. Pose is an amazing window into a subculture within the queer community. It is very much so. And actually, that particular subculture is kind of how my channel got its name. It was all because, you know, I have queer kids myself. And then on top of that, I have really brought in a lot of strays to my home as a safe place for them. And I was told by one of my kids' friends that I'm like a house mother. And I thought, well, if I had a house name, what would it be? And that's what I came up with. So that's actually a little history around the naming of my channel. Was a safe place for any person, queer or otherwise. And so when Pose came out, I was just like, yes, yes, this very, very much this. Now, granted, I can't claim to know anything about the lives of people of color and that epidemic, that life that they had to live, but I can speak for my own experience on trying to shelter and assist queer youth because it's important to me. Very, very important to me. Let's take a look at, let's see, what else we got? Let's look at art and war. Oh, here we go. I was just talking about this. Let's find one of these to look at. And this one, I will actually share my screen and kind of go over some things like with you while I'm looking at it. These are protest posters from the 60s and 70s. And a lot of what we were seeing on those posters really helped to shape people's understandings of Vietnam and what was happening. This one says, let us take the risks of peace upon ourselves, not impose the risks of war upon the world. This one was by the Religious Society of Friends, Quakers, in 1965. Quakers continually campaigned against war in light of their core belief in pacifism. Really, really beautiful. This was from, the Easter March. Interesting. This one just says no with a giant mushroom cloud. This was by Ian McLaren. The mushroom cloud image with the impactful slogan, an anti-nuclear symbol, and text compared the economic cost of nuclear weapons to things like schools and roads. Down here, it talks about, what all these things cost versus, what they could fund. And bad breath. It says, depicts U.S. aircraft bombing Vietnamese houses in the mouth of a caricature of Uncle Sam. This was by Seymour Chwast, founding partner of the influential Pushpin Studios. And bad breath. Oh, naughty word. We'll move right on by that. Really interesting things. But, then you have some related content we don't need to get into, but really, really interesting things. These posters, like Corita Kent and others, influenced a lot of public opinion and anti-war protests in the United States. It's interesting because just as divided as we can be as just Americans, as people, what have you, I think that generally we all want peace. We all want to just live prosperous, full, safe lives. And there's nothing wrong in that, no matter what your political lean happens to be. Hi, Angela D. in Wales. No, that's okay. Hopefully things will be better for you. You're a proud mom too, Wendy. For those that may not know, the LGBTQIA plus community has claimed the word queer, which takes the power away from what was an extremely homophobic slur. It's very true. Very, very true. Because I would never use the word queer in a hateful way or in a demeaning type way. I consider myself to be a queer person as well. And it's funny because, we live in a time where just like just like where I was talking about acceptance of and better treatment of the Black body, we're moving into a time where we have acceptance of and better treatment of queer people as well. And there's less fear of just leaving your house or loving your partner or what have you. And as stated, I mean, even regarding war, Vietnam, those sorts of things, I think that we as a human race generally want to do good and we want to see good and we don't want to fight and we don't want to um, we don't want it to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard, right? And there are many, many things that cause us to get derailed or distracted from just peace with each other. And I think that eventually, no matter political lean, I think that in all, that we're going to find a place and time where it's not going to matter who you are. It's not going to matter where you come from. Nothing's going to matter. We're all just going to try and be good people for being good people's sake. And hopefully that time is not too far in the distant future. I have faith in humanity that, we at least most really, really, really want to see good in the world, get back on track. See more butts. Yes. This is Naomi say, see more butts. Mm-hmm. And I hope that no matter what, we can find that common ground, because I don't think it's as uncommon as people fear that it is. I think that when we sit down and we speak to our neighbor or we speak to those who are around us, that really we're not as different as I think sometimes politics can make us feel like we are. Are there going to be bad apples in every lot? I think there are, but I also feel like generally people want to do good and want to see good, and we're not as different as I think propaganda can allow us to believe that we are. Eventually somebody's going to get in the driver's seat and sit everybody down and say, hey, listen, if y'all can't behave, I'm going to turn this car around and then we're all going home. No one gets to go to Disney today. We just got to figure out, how that happens. But like I said, I think generally people want to be good and do good. And once we can just look each other in the eyes and smile and say, I accept you for your differences. I accept you for your difference of opinion or whatever. I don't think that time is as far away as maybe we feel like it can be at times, That's and maybe that's wishful thinking, but I'll stay in my wishful thinking world, because I think the more that people are optimistic, the better off that we'll end up being, You started your first diamond art. Oh, good. Finding the diamonds are very small. Yeah. What I recommend for when you're having a hard time seeing, there are actually these table magnifiers that you can get that have lamps in them, or getting yourself a magnifying glass to go over top of, as long as you don't have to hold on to the hand magnifier, because that would be a pain in the arm, pain in the ass, pain in the everywhere. Let's take a look at see. We want to look at something let's look at some environmental movements. Because war, we all know enough about war as it refers to art. We talked a lot about that already. Let's talk about art and the environment where it concerns, politics and things like that. Let's see. Nope. Trying to find. Something good. Come on, let's see. Okay, that's not a good one. Let's try. Ooh, okay. Now this one is some images of street art and climate change. Now this is, like I said, climate change that's addressed through graffiti and street art. Sorry, one moment. Oh, Beans is home. I like this one. This one's really interesting with the polar bear. These cookies. Oh, look at that Diamond Art Club ad. It's all up my butt, I'm telling you. Oh, wow, these ice people. Ice sculptures just melting. That's a really interesting image. More Diamond Art Club. Oh, that one's interesting. When we go, we're taking you out. Where's the, oh, there is an apostrophe. Okay, I was about to, ooh, some lightning. That was fun. And a big old crack of thunder. We're having some weather. I like this one because it's true. I mean, whether we like it or not, if our bee population collapses, then we will probably follow shortly there behind them. But this is a really interesting piece of art. I like that. The wrong Amazon is burning. Uh-oh. That's an interesting piece. Looks like they did that with projected light. Here's something about deforestation. This kind of reminds me of the movie The Lorax, the animated one. And they're all like essentially consuming bottles of air. They're buying bottled air because they've deforested all of the what is it? They're making needs, and they're cutting down all the truffula trees. That's kind of what this reminds me of. There's also a couple of Yume pieces actually that remind me of this piece here. And then, oh, that's beautiful. That's a really beautiful image. This one is Extreme Weather, the New Normal. Oh, in Venice. Oh, like it's holding the building up. That's really cool. Huh. Rising sea levels. Oh boy. Interesting. That's a Banksy. Oh, wow. That's a really cool piece too. Some of these are really interesting. and I've not seen them before. Really, really interesting. I believe this would be another Banksy. She's handing the world to a kid, and the world looks like it's on fire. Oh, Sarks. Conditional Love by Sarks 404. And here is a wind turbine. Appears to be cleaning things up. It's called Clean Energy by Tabby. Uh-oh. Oh, this one's interesting. Huh. It's a 3D effect. The green one has oil rigs and a polluted beach right here. The pink has a stranded, broken, abandoned boat. The brown has a dead moose right there. And the blue, a far from equal meeting between settlers and Indians or native people. It says Indians on here. Sorry, I just read it out loud. Oh, wow. Look at that piece. Politicians discussing climate change. That's really interesting. Some of these are really fascinating. Yeah, you may definitely talks a lot about climate change, or like the fires and how it affects breathing, things like that. These are really interesting. Some of these I've never seen before. Let's see. A brighter future. Oh, naughty word. Moving on. Yeah, those were really interesting. And all of that to talk about like street art for climate change, understanding climate change. And there's another big old crack of thunder. I don't know if you guys heard that one. Beans heard that one. He gets scared. So he's got to let people know that he's scared. And he's got to bark about it. It's all right, Beans. You be okay. I'm surprised Bowie's not curled up under the table. Quite honestly, she doesn't like thunder. She's a little silly pants. Yeah, a lot of those are really interesting. I hadn't seen them. I really like the one with the politicians discussing climate change, like just they appear to be sinking. That one's really, really cool. All right, let's see. How about let's talk about oh, okay, hold on. This one, I feel like I apologize in advance. It is a little bit I would say a little racist now that we know things about this one. Let me pop this up for you so you can see it, because we didn't know at the time that this person was not. I don't believe this person is native. Maybe. Oh wait, I'm thinking of the actual commercial. This one, pollution. It's a crying shame, and it says Iron Eyes Cody. Creech. I can't see what his. Sorry again. It's a crack of thunder. It scared Mr. Beans. Oh, it was the anti-litter campaign. Beans, it's okay, buddy. Come here. Beans. He's like, I'm gonna bite you. Come here, Beans. You want some treats? He's like, I just want to bark at stuff. Please do that instead. This one was paid for by Keep America Beautiful. And yeah, okay. So this is not actually a native person. that is an Italian American actor portraying a Native American man who cried after seeing people throw out trash from their car window. It really became a symbol of the environmental movement, and it urged people to take action against pollution. But, come to find out later that that's not actually a Native person. And I mean, on the one hand, you could say, like, well, it got the point across, which is true. It did get the point across, but I do not condone the use of using an Italian person and passing them off as a Native person. That is not okay to me. But I do remember these ads, even later, being replayed or what have you. I do remember these ads showing up, though. And I do remember when the sort of controversy arose because he was not a Native person. And it's like more responsible choices could have been made in this particular instance, but what can you do? I mean, like I said, yes, the point got across, but probably not in the best way. And in fact, I think what ended up happening was after the fact, then people kind of thought it was funny and it became almost satirical, which is obviously not what we want to have happen when it comes to talking about pollution or things of that nature. Let's see about Maya Lynn. See if I can get you a good. Okay, let's see. Trying to find good images for this one. Maybe. Let's see. Okay. Let's go ahead and close that one out. And then I will share this one with you. This one is called What's Missing? And this is a listening cone. You can see there's like a leopard at the very back of it, or jaguar, excuse me. There's a jaguar. And this in particular, it's from 2009 to the present, and it's an environmental multimedia project, and it highlights species extinction, influencing global environmental protection campaigns. Like, this is what will be missing if we can't stop, essentially destroying the environment and or hunting things into extinction. This piece is, let me see, about the project. This is a cone. It consists of an 8-foot 6-inch height, 10-foot 8-inch width, and 19-foot 2-inch length bronze listening cone lined with reclaimed redwood. And it focuses, like I said, on raising awareness of what, those things that are going extinct. A really cool piece. Really, really cool piece. I've always found those like multimedia pieces of art very interesting. Even the ones that have like where the artist, there was one I remember, and I think I talked about this few weeks ago, about the artist who's basically sitting there and it says, you can do anything to me. And like people were slapping the artist or throwing food at the artist or writing on, or just sitting across from and staring into the artist's eyes or what have you. Really interesting when either the artist, kind of puts themselves into their own work, or where it's something that's kind of interactive with the audience. Some of those can be really affecting in a good way, and some can be very bad. Like, obviously, as an artist, you don't want people slapping you in the face or anything like that, but interesting stuff regardless. What time are we at? 9:05. Let's go with, I want to talk about, let's see. I gotta find one here. Is that what I'm looking for? Let me see. There we go. Oh, here we go. Is it going to be big enough? Nope. Sure won't. There we go. Now, beans. It's okay, dude. It's just thunder. Come here. He does not like it. Come here. Bean. I'm busy for a second. Now, this piece right here. All right, here we go. This piece right here is actually a land art piece. This is called it's a spiral jetty by Robert Smithson, and it's considered a land art masterwork. Now, this one in particular, it is an earthwork, and it was created by Smithson. It's located off of Roselle Point in the north arm of the Great Salt Lake. It's made of black basalt rocks, and it had an earth, and it's gathered all from around that area. It's a 15-foot wide coil, and it stretches more than 1,500 feet into the lake. And it has really come to epitomize land art. This one in particular, it's very just, it's huge for one. And sorry, one moment. Sorry about that. And then let's see, what's it say about like the meaning of it, things like that. Spiral jetty, da 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 da. They talk about it at the museum, the Utah Museum of Fine Arts. This one really like spoke to conservation issues, and influencing ecological awareness, just letting people know, like, hey, we get one world. We don't get to get a do-over. Not really. I mean, the earth will get a do-over. We probably wouldn't. We would not be lucky enough for that. Some of the environmental pieces, like where it speaks about deforestation, about just not cutting down the rainforest, things like that. Like, I remember being younger and being so freaking scared about how the world was going to look, I guess, when I got older, whether or not it would still be around when I got older. I remember like being a young person and thinking what the world was going to look like when I got older. And I don't know if the world is what I pictured it as a little kid, but I do know we don't have flying cards or hover skateboards, but a little disappointed about that. Back to the Future did lie to me just a little bit about the flying cars and the hoverboards. I mean, yes, we do have, I guess they're supposed to be hoverboards, but they don't really hover, not in the way that Back to the Future promised. And so, when I see those pieces talking about conservation and things like that, I remember being in, I don't know if it was 6th or 7th grade, and wanting to volunteer for self-tying shoes. Actually, they made a pair of those, and Michael J. Fox wore them and demonstrated them on like Good Morning America or something. They made a special pair of shoes just for Michael J. Fox, that particular type of shoe that would actually self-tie. I thought that was pretty darn cool. But, Sugar, what are you doing under there? Except for breathing your bad breath on me. But I remember just thinking like, I want to volunteer and be in Greenpeace and go save the whales or whatever. I was probably in 6th or 7th grade. I remember it very, very, very clearly because, I think I even wrote to Greenpeace to ask them like what I could do, and being told that essentially I was too young to join Greenpeace, and being so bummed out that I couldn't go, jump on an oil tanker somewhere out in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, only the one pair. There were no other pairs of those made, the self-tying shoes. Let me get one more, art and politics as it, relates to politics. One more I'll share. And that is because it is it's an image very, very near and dear. Let's see if I can find a good sized image. Yes, boom, that's a good sized image. This will be the last one that I kind of talk about. And then, yes, if you would not mind, please boop that like button if you've not already done so. Here is the last one, Rosie the Riveter. Everybody knows this piece from 1943. And this is an image of a strong woman working in a factory. And it really influenced gender roles during World War II and encouraged women to join the workforce. Now, things were different then, right? Women were typically leaders. It wasn't until World War II where we were needed for the workforce. And so I love this image of, essentially a housewife who is just kicking butt, right? And showing that we can be just as strong as men and all these things. And it's interesting too, when you look at well, the propaganda that was used to get women to join the workforce, and then the propaganda that was used to get women to go back home. And so while this piece is really important for, all of women's suffrage, it's important to women's rights, our civil rights for women. It's interesting too how sort of propaganda could be used to make us feel empowered on one hand, and on the other hand, to make us feel like, that power was no longer necessary, that we were needed back at home, that, our men folk were back from the war, and that we were needed back with our kids. And it's interesting too when you see movies like A League of Their Own, where while men were fighting in war, women were starting up their own baseball leagues for entertainment while men were away. And those depictions of what life was like for women in those days, I will never cease to find those things interesting. How, propaganda can be used for good, and it can be used for not good. Oop, keep bumping that cord. I will never not be fascinated by that. I think it's interesting how, on the one hand, they created this image to make us feel powerful, and then, on the other hand, kind of felt sheepish about the fact that we were ready to stay in the workforce and go out and earn it for ourselves after the fact. And so, this image, to me, it's important because on the one hand, it's a strong and powerful woman, and on the other hand, it's a symbol to me of, not being or lulled into this false sense of strength or power, because that power comes from inside each of us, man, woman, somewhere in between, non-binary, whatever you call yourself. Just as easily as these sorts of images can, seem to prop us up and make us feel great, those same images can be used to make us feel very small. And so it's all very interesting. Thanks for the lecture, Professor Naomi. I'll study my notes for the quiz on Monday. Yes, very good stuff. Very good stuff. But for those of you who are watching now or watching the replay, right here, what it says, we can do it. And whatever, naughty words.
Sorry. I didn't realize the drag broke.
Oh, my goodness. But yeah, all that said, we absolutely can do it. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't. I hope that some of you guys will please join us on Discord for the Discord After Dark. We hang out in the public Dazzler hangout where everybody can go. It doesn't cost anything to join Discord initially. You do not need to be any sort of special member of anything. You just need to have a Discord account. There are obviously paid versions of that, but mine does not cost anything, and it does not cost anything to make a Discord account. So please feel free to join us in there, and the conversation can continue. Otherwise, I will be back live again on Tuesday for trivia, where I believe we are finishing up with our animals by region trivia. And then we'll move on to something else. I am in Affiliations with a couple of different diamond painting artists, as I would love to have them join me on the live and talk a little bit about their experiences as an artist, their process as an artist, how they found, whatever company that they're signed with for diamond painting, and what what they like about it. Are they diamond painters themselves? That sort of fun stuff. I am going to see what I can do about getting some of those artists to join us for one of our lives here. And, I'll let you know what I find out as I find it out. But otherwise, you guys, thank you. Thank you for your support, your likes, your comments, your subscribe. If you want to hit that subscribe button, and always for your friendship. I hope I will see you again really, really soon. And as ever, wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world, I hope that you have an awesome, non-rainy morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you're at. I will talk to you again soon, you guys. I'll see you soon, okay? Bye-bye.